Okay, this is day 7 of this project. As you can see, the legs worked out rather well, although I could tighten them a little bit just to give more compression and make the cuts in the foam less visible. As I said before, you put her together, put the skin on, see where it needs to be tightened, take it all off again. So I've seen where it needs to be tightened. Sides need to come in this far, right to the black line there, all the way down 7.5 inches past this seam onto the hip. The whole thing needs to be pulled up. It's going to go right to the neck. It was down here before. The arms have to be recut, restitched. They're too long actually, which is surprising to me. But again, it's all holding together rather well, which means the gloves that go on are going to be great. That needs to be tightened by about, I'm going to pull in about that far. Try and do that with one hand. I'm going to pull it in about that far on the bicep, which again will clean up those lines a little bit. The zipper is going to be shortened again because it has to be pulled tight up to the bottom of the neck here. So that's fine. That's easy to do. Once I got all this once I get all the skin off of her, I'll show you where the serging happens. Well, that was surprisingly a little less painful than I thought it would be. So, she's skinless again. All is well and held together. So let's lay this out and mark. There it is. Mark where all of the fish have to be. So as I explained before what a fish is, let's lay everything as flat as we can. I can see marks from the opposite side. I don't know if you can see it, but you can kind of see the mark on the outside where I have to trace. On this side, that's where the fish is going to be. I'm going to cut a fish shape out with the serger. We'll do that on both sides. Chalk here, and we'll just mark along it. Like that. You can hear the cats crying in the background. They don't belong in this part of the house. So you can see there's that much excess material, which is standard for working with spandex. Okay, I'll finish marking that and all the other ones that I've got to deal with up here and the arms on the other side. The legs worked out surprisingly well. I'm really happy with them. But we'll cut that new waistline, the new hip line on the serger. Once I'm ready to go, then, then we'll go. Point of note, I'm pinning this seam. I'll show you a trick. You know how long your pin, might not know how long your pins are offhand to put them in. Put the head of the pin away from where the needle, past where the needle's going to be, past where the edge is. Drop it down that way. That's where you put it in. That way, your pins don't cross the cut line for the serger. Saves on the cost of pins, which, might get expensive after a while. Everything else is getting expensive, so I wouldn't be surprised if pins got stupidly expensive soon too. The main places you want to do this are around the seams, which have to line up front to back. What's under there? Oh, ruler. Put that back flat. On the other side of the seam, same thing. Keeps everything where it's supposed to be. Doesn't get in the way. But yeah, I'll pin the rest of that up. I'll start marking the other side to match it. Then we can do the hips. Up here, everything pinned in place, ready for the first cut. Let's start at the machine, see what happens. Let's see how close I can get here. Not very. That's about it. So do this first cut, then we can trace the cutaway piece on the other side to match. Because of how we set up the pins, we don't need to worry about them getting caught in the cutter. If one of them gets caught in the cutter, you'll definitely hear it. Okay. Stabilizing spandex is not easy. That's why for that, probably, 8 to 10 inches a cut, I'd use 16 pins. That's a lot of pins. See? Next, cut the other side. Go down into our waste tray here, the little drop section. Everything just falls on the floor. At least it all falls in one pile. So we got this. That is why you call it a fish. Once I peel it apart here, there. That's why they call these a fish. Because it's kind of shaped like a fish. Now, if it goes in from a flat edge, and tapers in a V, that's called a dart. I don't know why, but that's what they're called. But I'm going to trace that on the other side, do the same cut again on the opposite side in the opposite direction. And then we'll work our way up. Because what these two fish will do is bring everything good up to here. Right to the bottom of the boobs. Then we got to do all the work for the arms and shoulders. And those are all marked in place too, so I'll show you those when they happen.